Hello, Mr. Lee here. Here's your Khan Academy tutorial for zero product property. Okay, so we're going to start this. It's going to be a huge foundation in our class for the next weeks to come. This question is asking, find the zeros of the function. Enter the solutions from least to greatest. Okay, so all these directions matter. First of all, zeros is another word for x-intercepts. Okay, so where are your x-intercepts of this function? It is a quadratic. It'll produce a parabola. Where does your function value equal 0? In other words, where does your y value equal 0? So basically, this whole output will turn into 0. Okay, you can think of this as 0 is equal to your negative x minus 2 times negative 2x minus 3. Okay, so this is where we apply our zero product property. If either of these factors is 0, then the whole product goes to 0, right? 0 times anything will equal 0. I can also make this 0. This factor 0. 0 times anything still equals 0. Okay, so we're going to solve both separate factors when set equal to 0. Okay, we can do some of this in our head. Okay, add 2 to both sides, divide by negative 1, right? I trust you guys can solve these simple equations, but your x value would have to be a negative 2 here. Okay, I'm going to kind of skip to the end here. If x is negative 2, the negative of the negative 2 is positive 2, then subtract 2, you get 0. All right, so if x is negative 2, let's plug it in. This becomes a positive 2 minus 2, which is 0. This whole factor is 0. 0 times anything. I, at this point, don't need to actually calculate what this is, right? Because 0 times anything is still going to be 0. We've solved the equation. We've made it true. Okay, so x equals negative 2 is one solution. Let's solve the other one. We'll write it on the right side. Your other factor is negative 2x minus 3. If this is equal to 0, then we're also good. Okay, so let's add 3 to both sides and then divide by negative 2. Feel free to take more steps than I am. I'm just kind of showing you guys the overall procedure. Okay, so x equals negative 3 halves if you solve that out. And let's just double check it, right? Negative 2 times a negative 3 halves will give you a positive 3. And then 3 minus 3 is 0. This whole factor is 0, which is what we want. 0 times anything gives me 0. Okay, so we just have to order this. Khan Academy specific, they want the smaller value to go here, smaller x value, and then the bigger x value to go here. Okay, so negative 2 is definitely smaller than negative 3 halves, right? Negative 3 halves is going to be negative 1.5. Okay, so that should be the correct order. Check that we're right. Good. All right, let's do maybe 1 or 2 more here. Okay, so same thing. Enter the solutions from least to greatest. They already set the y value or function value to 0. So we just have to start solving, right? If either of these factors is 0, 0 times anything is 0. Right? I can start with this second factor. If this is equal to 0, then 0 times anything is 0. So we're going to solve each of these separately. Let me lay out both equations first before we start solving it. We'll do the same thing, though. We'll solve it kind of in one step in our heads. But please, if you need to take more time and lay out the steps, you guys can do that on your own screens, okay, or on papers. Okay, so 2x plus 4 equals 0. Subtract 4 on both sides and divide by 2. You'll eventually get x is equal to a negative 2. Okay, we can also check it, right? 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 4 is equal to 0. Okay, on your second factor, if I solve it out, add 2 to both sides, divide by 3, you'll get 2/3. Okay, double check it again. 3 times 2/3 is your 2, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay, so I solve for the two x values that will make either of the factors 0. And then as long as one factor is 0, you multiply 0 by anything, you still get 0, which is what we want. Okay, so let's order it. Which number is smaller? Obviously the negative one. So lesser x value is negative 2, greater x value 2/3.